Welcome to the Dr. Faisal Malick podcast, where we get into all kinds of topics and into a whole lot of trouble. We're going to have one of those adventurous days again today, aren't we?
Well, I'm saying help us, Jesus, today, because the road we're going down today, oh my, oh my.
Well, you always get me into these roads, Bev. I know I'm interrupting you, but it's like when you say today, I'm thinking every day we go down roads we shouldn't be going down. And topics
No, it's not. We need to go down these roads because it's time people talked about these things, because you really have insight and understanding into some of these topics that we all need. So today, we're going to talk about the difference between vision and fantasy and why that's so important when you're finding your mate.
Yeah. It's also important for people that are married, by the way. You know what I mean?
Are you in a fantasy or a vision?
Yeah. You need to know how to set the tone for your family and your life and your future. So vision is very key to us all. And we know that the richest man that ever lived, the wisest man that ever lived, said that without vision, man actually perishes. Mankind begins to deteriorate. Yeah. So vision is very key. And when we look at our world today, the place that we live in here today at one point was just forests. But somebody had a vision and they saw the town and the city before we actually got to experience it and walk into it. That's what vision is. It's the ability to see something that doesn't yet exist. But it does draw from it sees potential in something. And that's what vision is all about. So God is the ultimate visionary, of course.
Yeah, well, he was the one who created the world and created everything in it. When there was nothing, he spoke and he created the vision.
Yeah, and he saw it. And when it comes to relationships, so today, as we delve into this topic, we're talking about how Adam and Eve, the first married couple of creation, the first lady of creation, actually she wasn't named Eve till after they had fallen. But in the beginning, the first marriage, the first couple, sin entered in through the couple. And so Satan came in to cause division. So there was a vision that God gave Adam prior to Eve even being created. So God first made man, and he built a garden around him. He put him in the garden, and God began to show Adam his potential. He gave him vision. He gave him responsibility. He says, you need to tend this garden, you need to keep it, you need to guard it. All that's on your shoulders.
So this was Adam's vision when God put him in the garden and said, do those things. So this is the vision, kind of like the job, that he actually gave to. I never really thought of it in those terms.
Well, God wanted to do two things. The first thing he gave man with his presence. He breathed life into him. So that was the first awareness that Adam had. He came out of dirt and dust and God formed him. And then he wakes up to the presence of God. Yeah. He finds out he's a living individual. He has a living soul, in other words. He can make decisions. He can see, he can feel, he can think, and he can make choices. He's aware of all the faculties of his mind and his soul, but God immediately wants to give him vision. So he says, I want to give you responsibility. I want to give you dominion, which is really rulership with responsibility. And then he says, now listen, here's my word. So now he says, let me share my word. So a man needs to know the word of God. He needs to know vision from God and needs to know the presence of God. This is the makeup of man. And so God put these things in him. And then he says, okay, listen, I need to give you a helpmate, someone that is equal to you and suitable to join with you in the vision I've placed before you for this whole planet. So that was God's intention. So he then puts Adam to sleep, as we know, in Genesis 2. And then he pulls from his side a bit of Adam. And he makes Eve out of it, makes the woman out of it, and then presents the woman to Adam. So we see a model here where God says, here you are, the man wakes up from sleep, and now he sees this beautiful, amazing, incredible woman, and he's totally taken by surprise, and he says, you are bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, you are woman, meaning you've come out of man. Now the reason Adam did that was, Adam was already, prior to that, being shown animals in God's creation and says, hey, that's an elephant. And Adam immediately looked at the elephant and was able to recognize that's what I should call it. Because he had the ability to see in a focused way into the nature of that creation. That was something that God gave Adam. So he was a visionary. He could recognize vision. And so that's why men have this ability to focus on certain things. Men are very focused. You notice they can only focus on one thing at a time?
Yeah, I remember you telling that once before. So you're saying part of that goes into the whole concept of vision. God made him like that because he was given this vision and then the ability to focus one thing at a time in that vision. Okay,
so when he saw the animal, for example, the elephant, he saw everything about it.
So he could see its potential? Is that what you're saying?
He could see its potential. And that's how a man is in terms of vision. He could see its potential. He was able to perceive.
Okay.
Now here comes this woman, the same thing happens. When he sees her, he doesn't just see her physique
Yes.
and her beauty and something he's never seen before. Remember, he's never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
So he looks at her and he's amazed by how this is so, such an amazing.
Completely different from the
completely
animals.
different. He's completely different, right? And then in that process, he can also see into her emotions.
Okay.
He can feel her feelings. He can see into her imagination, know how she's thinking. So can she into him. This amazing ability to communicate and connect and become one was already incredible in this first couple. And so here they are in that type of relationship. And God says, hey, here's the marriage ceremony that you are both going to become one, spirit, soul, and body. And here on in, remember this, you must leave mother and father and become one with each other, united into one. In other words, not just physically one,
Yeah.
but spiritually one.
And this is really like, can I call it like the pattern for marriage, love, relationships, the perfect pattern,
Yeah,
if I can put it
in
like
a perfect
that.
world. And this is actually
Because it was a perfect world.
Yeah, and this is God's vision, which he's not given up on, in spite of the fact we live in an imperfect world.
Okay.
So this is where God shares his vision.
So it's still possible to have
It's
this
still
kind of a
possible,
relationship.
but it's not possible without the second and last Adam that God sent to make it possible again, which is Jesus.
Jesus,
Okay,
that's right.
so until Jesus, this
So
was
we
not
all
possible.
need Jesus,
Okay,
otherwise there's no
this is
hope.
not happening, right? So he turns around, and so he sets the tone for vision right away. Now, this woman is able to do the same. She understands him. She's going to be a strength to him. She's going to be a help to him. And she's equal to him. They're both created in the image of God, but there's something unique about them. There's capacities that a woman has that a man doesn't, because she was taken out of man.
Yeah.
So she has greater emotional capacity than men tend to. Men can have great emotional ability to feel, but women tend to feel a little bit differently. That section of their brain that governs emotion is larger than men.
Yes.
Men have the ability to see things differently. A woman had the ability to imagine in a way that a man cannot imagine. Because God never shared his vision with the woman, you see. He just gave it to the man and said, you're supposed to lead the vision in the household and the family and the relationship. And so because he's supposed to lead and have vision, but the woman has this capacity that she can take the vision from a man and imagine it and begin to take it several steps forward. And she can walk into the vision, imagine how it will feel. Imagine what it would be like. She'll begin to visualize aspects of the vision that are not yet there. And then she'll begin to help the man come into the experience of the vision before it actually occurs.
But you're really talking about in a perfect world. I mean, I'm listening to you and this sounds fantastic and wonderful, but I'm just thinking about the natural. I'm like, I don't know that this really happens this way. I mean, you're talking about a man who has vision, who knows God, and he's seeing something, and, the woman coming in and being able to help him. And even as you're talking, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you saying we don't have vision? Like you're just here to help men? Like, okay, let's break this down.
Yeah, let's
a
break
little
that. So
bit.
first of all, a good point you brought up. Women have the capacity to have vision as well. It's just that when they're choosing a mate, they need to find a man that has the capacity to make room for her vision. So there's an overarching vision for a relationship that God intends the man to lead. So it doesn't mean women cannot have vision and they cannot be visionaries. It just means when you choose your mate, if you want a relationship where you're going to be truly fulfilled and satisfied, then you need to choose a man that can make room for your vision in the overarching vision that he's entrusted to carry. So he's got to have shoulders broad enough to carry the vision. So he's got to have a big vision so your vision can fit into the vision.
Well, number one, what I'm hearing from you is he actually has to have a vision from
Yeah.
God. He has to have a vision, out of that relationship with God, have the vision. But what you're saying is that vision, I loved how you just said that it's got to be able to make room for his
Yes.
wife, for his spouse's vision in that vision. Because if God really puts you together, God's the one who gave the vision and he knows that, you fit into it, the two fit together. But what you're saying is that the man is the carrier of that vision. And as women, we're able to come into that and really begin to see that in a different way. And that's connected to our ability to imagine.
It is, because let's look at it this way. When a woman is designed to receive love, so she's designed to be impregnated with vision. Then she causes that vision to blossom. So, for example, you take a woman, you impregnate her with seed. It's just seed at that moment. But she can take that seed and turn it into an entire life.
Yeah.
Just like she can physically do that, she can mentally do that as well. That's why women, when they get into choosing a mate or a relationship, they start building, they say, castles in their head. Have you heard of that?
I have not heard
Okay,
that.
you haven't heard of that. So
I know we build a Fabio in our head, but he's going to be like this, and he's going to have a six-pack like that. I know we do that.
Exactly. They're really good at that too.
Yeah.
And so they have this ability to start imagining things in the relationship before they even occur. And that can be...
Oh, are you talking about, like when you begin to think, oh, he's going to do this, and
Yes.
he'll do this for me. It's like all these like fantasies. I'm just realizing fantasies in your brain about how he will be, but it's based on...
Well, it's based on a strength that God gave women.
Okay.
But in the fall, something happened to this strength, you see. That's what went down. So even when the serpent approached the woman in the garden in Genesis 3, it's verses 4 to 6, he basically first out front lies. He says, God didn't say you're going to die. And then he said, God's trying to keep something from you.
Yeah.
There's wisdom and knowledge you will gain by eating this fruit and disobeying God. And the third thing is you're going to become like God. So what Satan did was he implanted his vision into her mind. Because a woman is a carrier of the seed of vision to bring it to pass.
Wow.
This is a gift that God has given to women.
Wow.
And so women still have this capacity in them today. And so he knows that man needs a woman in order for the vision to come together, right?
Wow. Yeah. It's like that man, I'm seeing this thing
Are you
now.
seeing it now?
Yeah, I'm seeing
and so,
this now.
But Satan comes and says, hey, listen, he didn't go to the man, you noticed. Because if he went to the man, it wouldn't have worked. He had to go to the vessel that had the capacity to visualize and imagine.
Wow, this is making so much sense to me now, because I always, we looked at it and you realize that she was taken in and you wonder, why was she so taken in? But now that I understand this part, it makes sense. She was able to visualize, well, what would it mean to be like God? And she could begin to fantasize, I'm using inverted commas, to see what that would look like. I mean, wow, this is quite something. I just want to say to our viewers, if this is an aha moment for you, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about this.
And you know what he did was, all Satan did was give a different vision to her. Because he knew that she has his heart. And she can shift his vision from God's vision. So Adam did have a vision.
The devil is clever, I want to tell you.
He was working on this. And so he uses this woman who's this beautiful creature that has this amazing capacity to take the dream of another because she's a receptor and she experiences love by receiving it, and then she returns that same love back. So they have this beautiful relationship, and she's carrying Adam's vision, but someone comes in and gives her another vision and says, this is what you can have. And in this vision, he wants to create independence in her. Before they were one, but he wants to make two out of them.
I see.
Because
before that, she was kind of in his vision. They were working together in the garden, carrying out the vision God gave him. But I see now. So now it's like two visions.
Exactly. So now we don't have vision, we have division, right? Division.
Yeah.
So this is what Satan does. So he comes in and he shares a vision with her because she has the capacity to instantly dream, visualize, and move into the moment. That's why if you look at the language that she uses after Satan finishes speaking to her is in Genesis 3:6. She says she looked at the tree and it was beautiful for food. Now, but she didn't taste it yet.
Yeah, but she could imagine.
But she imagined, oh, this is going to taste so good. It looks so delicious. So she went from looking delicious to knowing it's going to taste delicious somehow, right? But she's never had this before in her life.
But we can imagine what it would be like.
But she can imagine really well. See, this is the power that women actually have to help a man along the road with vision. So when the man is like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to happen. Maybe I'm going there. She'll be like, no, it's going to work because this is how it's going to be. She brings the man into the moment, into the experience that she's already envisioned and imagined, because for her, it's a reality. She's the first recipient of his vision, right? So she's able to steward the vision. She's able to nurture the vision. She's able to let the vision grow and blossom. And the bigger it gets on the inside of her, the more real it becomes to her.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, wow, that God made us like this and we don't even realize these things are going on. And isn't it incredible the way that he just does this? You know, in a perfect, and I'm thinking, man, in a perfect world, this is so perfect.
And it can be. That's what we're going to get to in a moment. There is a problem here that got in the way, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But maybe we could just look at the verse in Genesis 3:6, okay? I'm
Yeah.
just going to read it right out so we can
Okay.
see. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes. So now we move from her ability to imagine how it tastes to now something called the lust of the eyes. This is the introduction of the lust of the flesh and the
Okay.
lust of the eyes. And then it says, and desirable to make one wise. So now her heart, the appeal to become wiser than she is, to know something she feels God is keeping from her. All this is being activated in her because women don't like FOMO. They have FOMO. They have the fear of missing out big time, okay? They do not want to miss out on anything.
Of course we don't want to miss out, you know?
And so she's looking at this tree and she's like, wow, this is amazing. And then she ate it first and then she gave it to her husband and he ate it as well. And next thing you know, the eyes of both of them are open and they discover they're naked, they're ashamed, they're hiding, they're blaming
Yeah.
each other. And we know in Genesis 3:16 that the curse was initiated.
Yes.
This was the beginning of the curse. So now they can't see each other the way they used to. They cannot intimately relate and connect at the level that they used to, right? Everything starts to change and we've come into our current world. So
Yeah.
all problems between men and women stem from this particular time.
Yeah.
And so here we are. Now what happens to the woman? Something changes in her. What Satan did was, whenever Satan gives us a vision, it's not called a vision, it's called fantasy. It activates the realm of fantasy because it's based on the foundation of a lie. So
Okay.
it's not sourced in truth. God's vision is always true. It's real, it's substance, it's possible. It's something invisible that you don't yet see, but it's possible to let it be seen. Whereas when Satan comes, he comes with a vision, which is a fantasy. So what he did was he engaged this aspect of a woman's capacity to imagine and made her imagine a different vision.
Okay.
Now she brought it into the relationship. That's why the scripture says Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived.
That's right, because she believed that lie and built that fantasy.
Exactly,
Out of
as
it.
the truth. That's what. So deception.
So she believes it's truth.
Yes, because deception is believing a lie as if it is the truth. So she believes a lie. Well, Satan told a lie.
Yes.
She then got into a place with her imagination where she could step into the vision of it. And now she's deceived because she actually believes it like it's the truth.
How many of us actually fall into that, believing the lie and then imagining it? That's the piece that for me is really like coming alive today, because it's you believe the lie, but then the whole picture is created. Then you step into the picture and start believing it's the truth.
And then you act out of it.
Yeah.
Because this is a great capacity that women have. So when you come into a relationship, this is why if you notice the fantasy novels that are written and sold in our market today, guess who the number one consumer are?
Yeah,
Women.
women. They're the ones who read them.
Why do they like those more? And there's actually a physical difference between how a woman sees physically and the way a man sees physically. So for example, women have better peripheral vision than men do.
Okay,
Okay?
I didn't know
so
that.
they can almost see 180 degrees.
Okay.
That's why a woman doesn't miss anything, okay? All right? And that's why, and men, they don't have the same peripheral vision, but they have better depth perception. So you put something right in front of it, sometimes they can't see it.
Is that the problem all these years?
So when a man opens a fridge, what happens? Have you noticed that? He can't find the thing.
He can't find the thing. No,
And it's
they
right in
can't
front of
find
him.
anything right in front of
He
them.
can't find them because, and the way the man works is he's designed to focus on one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So when he looks at a fridge, he can't look at everything all at once. He's looking for one thing. But a woman can, at one glance, with her peripheral vision, at one time, because she has the ability in her brain to multitask, she's enough compartments, it's all at once, she takes a photograph immediately. She sees it.
Okay.
Here's the ketchup. And the man's like, I can't find the ketchup bottle. No, it's not here. It's not here. And she's getting upset and she's like, okay, here it is. Can't you
Yeah.
see it? And he's like, I can't believe it's right there.
Yeah.
And so there's actually a difference.
There's actually like almost scientific reasoning for that.
Exactly. Because God had to make them different. Because remember, when God made woman, he made her out of man. So this stuff came out of man.
Okay.
But man has a little different approach to things. So a man has to be focused because God said, you're the visionary. I need you to be focused. I've given you the ability to focus and focus on the vision. To not look at everything around you, but focus on the one thing I put in front of you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why men, for example, they also have the ability to notice motion much quicker than women. So in their field of vision, if something moves, they'll catch it faster and process it quicker than a woman will. They'll notice it moving.
Wow. Okay.
That's how a man can notice a beautiful woman in the middle of anything, anywhere, anytime. Okay, walking by. Okay.
Walking by, he'll see it coming.
Be like, there's motion right there, And so, and obviously they got to work on that at some point. We'll get into that one other episode. But the point is, there's differences here. That's why a woman can capacitate vision differently. She sees the peripheral vision, perspectives of this vision. Well, as you focus, a man's looking on the focus of the one thing.
Yeah.
But she's like, when you do this, it's going to affect the children. It's going to affect this area. It's going to affect our relationship. When you go after it this way, what's going to happen to our relationship? Are we going to be able to spend time? Are we going to be able to connect? Are we going to, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's already thinking it all the way through.
She's thinking all this stuff because she can see it. But a man doesn't see it right away.
Okay.
So that's why he needs that collaboration with his mate.
Yeah, we're actually designed to be better together than apart.
Exactly. And so that was God's original plan. So the enemy comes in, and now when it comes to choosing a mate, for example, if women don't have this understanding of their capacity and their strength and what God gave them, and they're used to fantasy, either because they're just raised, because the world is filled with fantasy.
Yeah, it is. We're sold all kinds of fantasies all the time, right from, the Disney tales, fairy tales. All the way through.
And so there's a fantasy that can set in sometimes that will get in the way of identifying the right mate when he appears.
That happens so often, and it goes back to creating that fantasy of the man, the ideal man that I want. He's going to be like this, and he's going to do, but it's often not only just physical, it's actually, well, he's going to do this, and he's going to do this, and he'll do this kind of thing for me. And then that's a fantasy. So, when you actually meet this person, they don't measure up. They're not that person, because they're real.
Yeah, they're real. And it's not that you can't have hope for a beautiful relationship. Look at the vision I shared in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's a high standard.
Yeah.
And so if you want that high standard, you can, but there's a way to get it. Okay. But first we got to break down the fantasies that we're, dealing with in our life and how we're kind of, have this capacity to fantasize about things and not see things for what they really are.
Yeah.
And that's also important. So for men, they need a woman that can capacitate vision because no one can capacitate a man's vision like a woman can.
Okay.
And that's why she's such a strength to him as well.
And that's why God said that she would be like a help.
Exactly.
She's bringing a piece that he really needs to actually get the vision done.
That's right. Because she's able to see all these things. And so a man has to develop an ability not only to become emotionally intelligent, but to become responsible enough and say, how does this affect everything? How does this affect the assignment I'm in? How does this affect my wife? How does this affect my children? How does this affect the relationships in my life? How does this affect a lot of things? So a lot of things have to play into it. Because remember, women are responsive and they also appreciate security.
Yes.
They know when things are stable.
Yeah.
They know when things are secure. And so they have a different way of approaching things sometimes than men. And so these are all strengths that can be collaborative in nature.
Yeah.
So here's the thing in choosing a mate. So for example, if a woman chooses a man that has no vision, or chooses a man prior to him developing any vision at all, that could be problematic for her because she's designed to run with vision.
So let me ask you this question. If I'm looking for a mate, when I meet someone, how do I know if this is a man of vision or not?
Well, you start by asking questions, and you start by looking at his track record.
Okay.
So he'll probably start talking about, when he was really young, he started working.
Okay.
Key factor.
Yeah.
Started working when he was young. I was 13, 14 years old, he's going to say, and I started doing this thing. I wasn't lazy sitting around the home. My friends were doing this, I was doing this. Number two, you're going to notice this is a man that perhaps overcame some things in his life. Maybe they went through a family tragedy. Maybe they have to shift to move, town and country often. There were some things that he went through, but he overcame them.
Okay.
He didn't get bitter, but he got better through the process.
All right.
You see?
Yeah.
So you're noticing, okay, this is a man. And number three, is this man ever had responsibility?
Okay, big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he had responsibility? And through responsibility, has he actually accomplished anything? And did he he'll start sharing with you, when I was this age, I thought about doing this, and I really had a dream to do this. And then you know what? I noticed I'm actually doing that now. And I was able to accomplish it, you see?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm walking in it.
Yeah.
And when you walk into his life, he'll not only have a sense of assignment, depending on his age a little bit, you got to give him some time, but he'll have a sense of assignment. He'll actually be moving towards that assignment. And does he have any fruit in regard to that assignment?
Okay.
Now, if he can have all that without a woman, that's incredible, because with a woman, a man can become someone that he could never be apart from her.
Okay.
Like whatever a man can accomplish on his own pales in comparison to what he can accomplish with genuine love from a woman. It's scientifically proven.
Wow.
It's factual. And so something happens when a woman comes. And if you look at most successful men that are really successful and genuine people that are influencing people, making a difference in the world, oftentimes you'll notice that they actually have an amazing partner, an amazing spouse,
Yeah.
this woman that is with them. And sometimes you don't even see her.
Well, that's that famous saying, behind every successful man is an even more successful woman or something like that,
Or, and she's right beside him.
Yeah.
And so this aspect, and if you ask those men, what is the one thing that's most valuable to you? They will tell you it's this woman.
Yeah.
Because she's able, because her capacity to imagine. So when a man has a vision, she actually sees him in the vision.
Okay.
So think about it. That's an amazing thing to have near you when you have a vision.
Yeah.
Because in the vision, you're going to go through hardship. You're going to go through difficulties. You're going to go through challenges. Now, here's this woman that believes in you. Even when you don't believe in yourself, even when you're down, she's the one that says, no, it's going to work. She's going to believe in you. That's why if you notice, when a man loves a woman and a woman believes in him and she's the one that says, honey, you know what? You got this. Don't worry. You're going to make it. You're going to succeed at this thing. It's going to turn around in your favor. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That will turn him into Superman.
Yeah. He'll be able to get it done.
He'll use so much energy. He'll give him so much life. Yeah. But the same woman, if she comes along, the world can criticize him. But if that woman comes and criticizes him, puts him down, deflates him, he's in trouble.
Okay.
That's the number one way to destroy a man.
Wow.
And that's why they say when you look at a lot of tragic situations, not often, not in every case, but oftentimes where men could not succeed or they failed miserably, things went really wrong, you can also trace, they say, and this is true, this is factual, so please don't get mad at me. They say there was always a woman.
Yeah.
That was the opposite of this kind of woman that was supposed to support him. And that also is the case.
Yeah,
or a trail of
there was something that happened with a woman in their life where that it went astray and then their life just took off in a wrong direction or they really went through failure.
And it affects them. And it takes sometimes years and years and years to get back on track and to rebuild. So back to your question. You want a man that, number one, has vision and can show a little bit of a track record.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I'm going to say this now, right now. So some women are going to be like, hey, should I marry a man that's at a certain age and he's never been married? He's never had responsibility. Well, if he's getting a little bit on up in age and he's never been married, you're better off marrying a man that was married because he had responsibility.
Yeah. And he's been through some stuff.
Yeah, he's been through some stuff.
Not good stuff.
Yeah. And the longer a man is single and never been married, then basically you know what he was doing. He was playing around.
Yeah.
And he's still a kid. And now he wants to settle down. Well, maybe that's not the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not saying it's not possible.
It's maybe not in every single case.
There's always exceptions to
There are exceptions, but generally,
generally speaking, right? So we need to be mindful of these things a little bit. So and for men, you want to choose a woman that can understand and value your purpose and vision in life. If she has no respect or admiration, appreciation, or passion or excitement about your vision, that may not be the best thing for you, right? Because vision is important. If you don't have vision in a relationship, the relationship's going to go everywhere. And you don't want, anything with two heads is a monster.
Yeah.
And so what you want is you want to have vision, you want to have direction, and you want to collaborate with your spouse. I recommend collaborating.
Yeah, because women also oftentimes they come into that with some vision of their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not a case of, okay, well, if this is my spouse, I have to have no vision, put it down, and now it's all about my, husband to be or my spouse to be's vision. That's not what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying actually a true Christ man, a high value Christ man is going to be able to recognize the capacity and potential of his woman.
Okay.
And so in other words, the right match. It's about the right match.
Yes.
If you want to be compatible, then the vision that he carries is going to be bigger than yours. And it should be. Just like I believe a man's supposed to provide and protect and love and care for the woman. She's respected. So, he has to make more money than you. I'm sorry. I mean, people, and statistically, women want that anyway. And they might say, no, I don't care. No, you do care eventually. It matters.
Yeah.
And so he has to be a provider. He has to be able to make way for you. So you may have a vision, but you don't need to be dependent on money. You might help create the resources in the house and the family and the vision. That all needs to be discussed and figured out and processed out between you two.
Yeah.
However, it's important to understand that he's got to have a vision that has room for you.
That's right. And I really like that you said that, a vision that has room for you.
Yeah. So if you're coming in with a massive vision, and this is why women get into trouble sometimes, if they have great vision and great passion or even a great calling on their life, and then they marry somebody, they can end up still fulfilling their calling but be unhappy in their relationship. But the challenge is a woman is designed to receive love. And she's designed to cause that love to expand, multiply, and return it back.
Yeah.
She gives it back to her husband, and he gets more from God. He gives more to her, and it's a cycle that keeps going between honor and respect and love between one another. She passes it on to children. Everywhere you go, you see a woman that's happy and she's glowing. She has love to give everyone. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
She nurtures the family. In fact, the wisest man that ever lived said the same thing, that she's the one who builds the home, makes the house a home.
That's right.
She's the one that brings this joy and life into the middle of the home. She's the one.
Yeah.
She's the crown, Proverbs says. She's the crown. A virtuous woman, an excellent woman, is the crown of her husband. In other words, without a woman, a man can't be truly enthroned. He can't step into kingship.
Yeah.
Because
wow,
a crown is what makes him a king.
Exactly. It makes him a king.
Right? And so there's something about this kind of woman in a perfect world, so to speak, in God's vision, she's the kingmaker.
Okay.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And we don't see it that way.
Yeah.
But even though she's the one that wants to be led by vision, she's like, lead me. But if a man has no vision, where's he going to lead her? Where's he going to take her? Where are they going? So he needs to have a bit of vision. And she comes along and she imagines and she starts to make that vision a reality. She's the first one to believe in the vision, so to speak. The number one believer of his vision.
Yeah.
That's why she can be trusted in the process. So you need to collaborate with her, depending on what her passion and what her interests are. And you collaborate together. What are we going to do in our life? How are we going to dream together? And you do this with prayer. How do we pray together about these things?
Yeah.
How do you talk about these things? All this stuff is very, very important. But it'll also give you a good relationship because it gives you purpose in the relationship.
Yeah.
This is why we're together.
There's a reason we're together. We love each other. We're attracted. We have all of that. But there's actually vision in the relationship, and there's a part that both of you are playing to actually move forward into something in your journey together. And you want it to be vision and not fantasy.
That's right. Yeah, because fantasy is going to work against vision in the home. And so you want to work that out. And see, men deal with fantasy slightly differently. They also fantasize.
Okay.
But they're more focused. That's why they're attracted to certain things.
Okay.
And you see in the visual world what's happening with men and what's happening with women. You look at pornography today. Now, right now, there's an equal amount of women and men watching pornography.
Yes.
But it wasn't always like that.
Okay.
And so you have this dynamic that they're feeding on. So both of them are contributing to this culture, by the way. Having said that, that's a fantasy where they're actually trying to grasp with, where they're hiding from reality.
Okay.
But if they got vision, then their life becomes real. We may not be in the fulfillment of our vision yet, but we're moving towards it. So let's celebrate the milestone.
I love that. I love that. We're getting stuck in the fantasy of things because we don't have real vision in our relationships.
Yeah, in the absence of vision, fantasy will prevail, always. If you don't have vision, you will have fantasy. Because the imagination and the mind has to give itself over to something. And so if you have vision, then your mind will constantly start going towards the vision. If you have a vision to build a relationship with God, your mind is going to go in that direction. If you have a vision to build a great marriage, a great relationship, to love your spouse and to honor her and to listen to her, to make space for her, to make room for her heart, her feelings, if you just have a vision for a man, he can do it then.
Okay.
And so vision actually helps the marriage. Without vision, remember, your relationship will start to decay, deteriorate, and come to an end. So you need vision in the relationship. You need to take time to go away and talk about vision and talk about where are we in the vision? What is our plan for this year? Where are we going in the vision? Is the vision the same? Is it changing? Is it adjusting a little bit? Is it getting more clear now? Is it getting more specific than it was last year?
Wow.
These are good conversations to have.
These are great conversations to be having.
Now let's go back to your question. So let's just say you're looking for a mate and you have no concept of vision. You don't know if the guy's got a vision. That's where a lot of women get unhappy. Or you don't have an awareness of your passions, your gifts, your area of assignment as a woman.
It's just all about what he wants to do. And
you need to understand that. Because as a woman, you will never be happy in a relationship where you're exclusively the visionary and he has no vision.
Yeah.
You just won't be. You'll be an accomplished woman. You'll be celebrated and you'll like those aspects, but you're always going to lean into the masculine nature versus your feminine nature, your feminine energy, and you're going to find yourself a little bit like you're great and successful in the world, but you're unhappy at home. That's why vision is important for both of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
I
that makes a difference.
really today, I just, this conversation, I'm trusting, and I know it's helping a lot of people, just the importance of vision in a relationship, not only in finding your spouse and understanding that, but also in a marriage, in a relationship, the importance of vision to keep that marriage on track, keep that relationship on track, and keep it full of life and moving forward and not decaying. So I think this has been incredible. I know it's helped me. I'm just loving what we're talking about, as usual. And so for all of you listening out there, send us some comments. Tell us what you think about it. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do that now as well. And you can go to drfaisalmalick.com and
subscribe to our social media
subscribe
platforms.
to all our social media. That's correct. But also, we wanted to say, if you have a question for us, we want to take some time, one of these episodes, to answer your questions. So send us your questions. Ask us the burning things that you want to know that no one else is answering, and we'd love to talk about them as well.